Going to talk just a little bit about what to do as the season changes, especially in North America. It is getting to be winter, and a lot of photography slows down. For portrait photography, the business isn't as much. There aren't as many people buying portrait sessions in the cold areas of the country anyway. For landscape photography, there's less to do. You can certainly shoot those snow landscapes, but it's just you have fewer options of places to go. So what are we going to do during our photography hibernation? What do you say?
So, Jim, I know one of the first things you do is you clean your tripod, right?
This is what I should be doing, but when you extend my tripod legs, you hear because I've never cleaned it.
All the salt and sand that's in there. I know here, for the most part, most of my portrait shoots are coming to an end. And it's just time for me to think about, okay, what's going to happen in the spring? And so between now and then, I want to maximize my time and, be wise in what I do. So, for me, it's a lot of just cleaning up. It's a lot of organizing things, physically organizing my office, the area where I spend most of my time editing and working and throwing on my lenses and bags and stuff, but also cleaning up my computer, making sure I have things backed up. Going into the cloud, I put a lot of stuff in Google Drive often, and I'll just throw it up there. And so I need to go back and organize that, planning my budget for next year. But I think one of the best things that as photographers that we can do is real FaceTime, not on the computer, but like actually seeing somebody face to face, whether it's another photographer or just another person in the industry, wedding planners, DJs, videographers, just making those connections with people, because those connections are going to lead to the business that comes out of that. And a lot of times the weddings, that people may often book, a lot of times I'll book weddings after Christmas or the New Year's, the holidays, because a lot of times that's a great wedding or a great gift for the holidays is somebody will propose.
That's a great point, Brian. If I can jump on that for a sec. I was in Panera Bread this week, and in the booth behind me was a wedding planner talking to a bride, and I eavesdropped. Of course I did, just because I was interested in what they're saying, and it was exactly what you're saying, Brian. The bride asked the wedding planner, says, well, what should I do about a photographer? And the wedding planner says, look, I know just 3 photographers who I work with all the time. I know them in person. I've dealt with them before, and I wouldn't recommend choosing any other photographer. And so, all the other photographers doing advertising and Facebook and stuff, it's the face-to-face ones that get the business. So great point.
And a lot of times if it's weddings that you're trying to get into, a lot of times the wedding planners already have their photographers, like you just said. So what you want to do then is you want to try to find who are the new wedding planners, who are the up and coming, the young ones, and try to form relationships with those people. So that way you're one of those 3 or their main photographer that they're referring. So I just think it's a crucial time, even though we're not out taking pictures as much. It's just a crucial time to learn and to spend more time just kind of cleaning things up, but especially just making those connections.
So here's another suggestion on speaking kind of cleanup, made me remember this. It's a really good time to try to do like your year's top 10. And I think there's really big value in going through this. I think it helps you to focus, especially if you can do it every single year at the end of the year. You can kind of see if you're making progress year to year as you go to pick your top 10 photos. And I think you could get the really big benefit out of kind of a marketing angle too, reconnecting with your audience on Instagram, on social media, by publishing what your top 10 is, maybe even having a countdown about here's number 10, number 9, number 8, all the way to number 1, and reconnect with, if it was portraits, then you can kind of say thanks to the customers again, but remind people about how good it was. Maybe they'll even give some feedback and saying, oh, that was such a great shot. We're so glad we had you as a photographer. But either way, if you go through them, evaluating your own work and trying to narrow down what were your top 10 photos that you took this year is a really valuable exercise. At least for me, it's been super helpful to go through that every single year.
Didn't you do a photo taco on that once about how to do that in Lightroom? And
yeah, kind of the mechanics, the
Yeah.
technical aspects. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought it would be cool. We've talked about this before, Jeff. It'd be cool if we could find a good way to do this so everybody from Improved Photography could submit their top 10s. Maybe we should explore that. I would love to see all the listeners, top 10s and stuff. I think that'd be cool.
What's amazing to me is to just see the progress. And I get encouraged by it, actually, because when I go look at this year's top 10, I can go, wow, that is way better than what I did in the past. Sometimes I've even gone back to those shots and I thought, well, the reason that shot wasn't as good was because my post-processing technique was not nearly as good as it is now. And I'll reprocess one from a couple of years ago and it looks so much better because of what I've learned and how I've progressed in being able to apply edits in a more tasteful way, or maybe a more contemporary way, figured out what's trending and the fad now, and applying those. It really brings a lot of the older shots to life and helps me to continue to improve. It's really been a valuable exercise for me.
Very cool. Well, I spend a lot of my winter time planning travel for photography. And photography travel does not have to be super expensive. I know I've talked about this before on the podcast, but 2 pages that I will be on a lot in the month of December is Groupon's Getaways, flight inclusive, and Living Social Escapes. These are both daily deals websites, and I've used it several times. The prices do seem too good to be true, but they are true. Because I've done them several times. Brian, in fact, you and I went to Iceland on that deal. How much was it? Was it $699?
Well,
or $599?
It depended on if you had like a roommate and shared it. Yeah, it was like $600-700 for your flight, a car, your room. It was insane.
It was awesome for that trip to Iceland. And this is not an advertisement if anybody's wondering. But they're great. They're just great deals. So definitely check those out. I mean, you can hear, I'm just looking on the page right now. Dominican Republic with airfare for 8 days, $499. It's crazy. 10 days in Ireland. Ireland is an absolute definite. I'm going there in 2017. I've got to plan the time. $699 includes your airfare from the United States, your car rental, and your lodging in Ireland for 10 days. It's crazy. Israel. Ooh, I really want to go to Israel. 8 days for $1,000. Machu Picchu, $899 for 5 days. It's crazy the deals you can find. We as photographers waste so much money on drones. Hello, why am I spending $3,000 on a drone? I could take 6 trips for that price, and you'll obviously have other expenses, for food and other things, but it does not have to be super expensive. And for the price we're paying for just a lens, you could go on an amazing trip and hey, kit lens may not be super sharp, but when it's in Ireland pointed at awesome stuff, you can still make some pretty cool photos. So that's where I spend a lot of my time during the winter. Okay, very cool. Well, in our 12